Says more than 1 million people may have been forced to leave their homes in northern Nigeria by the 5-year-old insurgency of Islamist sect Boko Haram. Children who have been displaced by the incessant insurgent attacks have been particularly hard hit. Hundreds of children displaced by the conflict now live in Makori camp in the northeastern city of Yola. The UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, says that children are suffering the dire consequences of the conflict in Nigeria, losing their homes, missing out on education and risking their lives. Aid groups are trying to have students continue learning while at the camps. Christiana Ibrahim is a volunteer teacher at Makori camp.
Boko Haram pursue us from Michika to we come Yola. Then I stay here. Then I call teach these small children. I'm a volunteer teacher. I'm teaching them social study. Then I'm taking primary 1 to 6.
The International Organization for Migration has warned that continued attacks may force even more people to flee internally and to Cameroon, Niger and Chad, which could destabilize the region. At another camp nearby, children who escaped fighting are getting registered for classes. Without enough classrooms, however, the students are mostly forced to spend the day under the sun listening to their teachers. Displaced children across the border to neighboring Cameroon make up 60% of the 25,000 Nigerian refugees living in Minawao camp. In Niger, women and children make up 70% of the refugees in the impoverished southern region of Diffa, which has seen a sharp increase in the number of people seeking shelter, according to UNICEF.
So coming here has been a privilege to me because I'm opportunity to meet children, talk to them, hear about their experiences from their place of attack. So it's now given me a better way to understand them and to follow them the way so that they will grow up the right way and regain themselves from the trauma they have experienced.
Well, the fall of the town of Baga to Boko Haram this month has led to increased calls for international support to halt an insurgency threatening to spread even wider in parts of West Africa. For more perspective, we are joined via Skype from Nashville, Tennessee by Moses Ochonu, is a professor at Vanderbilt University. Professor, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first, your thoughts on this staggering number of displaced people, 1 million or even more.
It is saddening. It's very depressing to hear the figures. It's possible that the figures are actually being underestimated. And what is even more saddening is the fact that the ongoing election campaigns are overshadowing the plight of the refugees and the displaced people. The scale of the displacements have been massive. With refugees in Yola, Maiduguri, some have even made their way to the capital. And of course, some have made their way to Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. And yet, there doesn't seem to be any discussion of their plight and how to improve conditions in these camps.
Now, this is the most mind-boggling thing to most people. Why is it that the leadership in Nigeria can find it an opportune time to go around campaigning rather than talking about this issue? What are you getting out of that country?
Well, on the one hand, elections have been scheduled for next month. And so the candidates have to campaign and articulate their plans to solve the problem, to solve the insurgency and other problems plaguing Nigeria. So, Nigerians want to listen to well-crafted plans and strategies for dealing with the insurgency, for dealing with the displacements and the refugees. So the campaigns have to go on. So the challenge for the candidates is to campaign in a manner that doesn't portray them as being insensitive to the scale of suffering that is going on, the displacement, the refugees, and the ongoing, almost daily attacks. So it's a delicate balance that the candidates have to try to strike. Now, personally, I don't feel like they've been able to strike that balance quite yet.
And you know, that those who feel like this is going to cut off, the insurgency is going to cut off like millions of people from the electoral process. Is it fair to conduct an election in such an environment?
Well, in the states most affected by the insurgency, Borno State, Yobe State, and part of other states in the Northeast, I think the elections, the elections cannot hold. As a practical matter, the elections cannot hold in certain areas of this state because these areas are controlled by Boko Haram, and the electoral officers would not just go there. The question is whether the elections can hold in the areas of this region that are not controlled by Boko Haram, and whether the results from those areas alone would be legitimate as something that is representative of the electoral wish of the people in those areas. That's the question that is up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks a lot, Professor Ochonu, for your insights.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Moses Ochonu is a professor at Vanderbilt University.